Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a huge report. Will the United States government initiate FedCoin? You know, kind of like Bitcoin, but completely and utterly federalized by the central banking system of the United States of America, the good old Federal Reserve, who has nothing to do with America and is a bunch of international dictators who run the Federal Reserve there. So the Federal Reserve is not federal, obviously, but now they want to put something similar to Bitcoin called FedCoin in the hands of the Fed in order to run the United States economy and possibly even take it global, according to a few reports that I'm going to show you. Now, for starters, I want to show you two reports, one from Washington Post and the other from Fortune, pushing this idea of a FedCoin. And then I'm going to show you the Yale study from which it comes from, and lots of bombshell information in this. So please share this with everyone you know. On a side note, I'm going to be at the Hear the Watchman conference coming up March 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and I'd love to see you guys there. I'm the MC. I'm going to have a good time. So if you plan on attending, check out hearthewatchman.com. Use the code HAVEN20 for a discount. They have live stream tickets, and they also have live tickets for you to attend in Dallas, Texas there. All right, so with that, let me show you the first report. This one is from Washington Post, and it's titled, "Bitcoin is Big, but FedCoin is even bigger." Now, the report goes on to detail, and I want to just highlight this one point, but it is only a matter of time before paper money is phased out, meaning that they are going to have an end to our cash, or that is the ultimate goal, is let's put an end to cash from some of the branches of the US government. Now, here's another report. This is from Fortune, and it's 5 reasons the Fed needs a Bitcoin-style currency. Now, both of these reports were put out in December 2017 or around that time, but the 5 reasons that they give is, number 1, FedCoin will be a useful tool to stimulate the economy, which is a bogus lie, because as I'm going to show you in the moment, they want to back it with the dollar 1-to-1 ratio. But the second reason is digital currency is more efficient and secure, not necessarily. Third, it would be harder for criminals to hide the money. 4, it's easier to impose negative interest rates. Doesn't that sound just wonderful? And 5, cash is going to go away anyway. Not my words. Those are the words from Fortune and the words from Washington Post. But where are they grabbing this idea? Where are they pushing this idea of FedCoin? Well, from a Yale study. Now, I'm going to throw this up on part of the screen here, and you can see FedCoin is a report, a blockchain-backed central bank cryptocurrency. Now, this report was compiled May 2017 by people there at the university, but I want to go through and highlight some areas because, let's be frank, we know that the bilderbergmeetings.org, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen, that pretty much years past have proven that they want a cashless society. It's part of their agenda. But not only that, not only is Bilderberg's agenda to have this cashless society, but now they have the means to do it via a FedCoin option, whereas Bitcoin is outside of the Federal Reserve. They don't have anything to do with Bitcoin. It's people running it, and then they go through nodes or miners, if you will, who, you know, approve or access the information or block the information. But all of that is through a separate entity and not government related. Well, they obviously want to put this under the hands of the government so they can tax us, so they can make us and force us to go cashless. All right, so back to this report from 2017, back in May. This is a study put out by Yale. And in this, they push the idea of having the Federal Reserve have a FedCoin. And again, remember, the Federal Reserve is not an American organization. It's a global bankers run by international people. It has nothing to do with us here. And then they charge interest here to us here in America. But here's some highlights. They first propose that the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the US, create a blockchain-backed digital coin called FedCoin. Now, this is their starter. Again, it's blockchain-backed, similar to Bitcoin, where you have an address and everybody has a number associated with them. But in this particular one, they actually want your name, your address, and all your personal info so they can track exactly who it's to, whereas Bitcoin is tracked to just a number and not a name. All right, now it further goes on that it will be assured by the Fed enforcing a 1-to-1 exchange rate with the dollar. So 1-to-1 ratio, we're talking between FedCoin and the dollar. It also says that a successful FedCoin would make banknotes, credit card companies, and Bitcoin obsolete, gone, sayonara, including cash, credit cards, and Bitcoin. Nothing but FedCoin. Imagine the amount of control that the Federal Reserve could have over the American people when everything else is gone. Something to think about. But it says while transforming the nation's medium for money. So obviously they want to transform us into their global dictating system, kind of like what the Antichrist is going to do in the latter days. We know that they have a system which nobody cannot buy, sell, or trade without the mark of the beast. Could something like FedCoin be used as that? Absolutely, especially if it is backed by the Feds. And I personally like Bitcoin for the reason that it's not backed by the Federal Reserve, but here they are wanting to create their own. Now, if you skip a couple of pages onto page 6, what I want to show you there is that what they really want to do with FedCoin is make it global. Now, a little further down on that page, it says transparency about cash flows would offer the Fed and the world, meaning they don't want to just keep it here in America, but they want to make it global, the most ripe data set for analysis ever seen. So obviously they want to take this outside the bounds of the good old-fashioned USA. Furthermore, on page 7, they say a central bank cryptocurrency, FedCoin, will be a universal electronic 24/7 liability to the Fed's balance sheet. Even more power to the Fed, if you will. On page 8, it talks about this hybrid model where the central bank primarily controls the money supply. So who's in charge of our money supply? 100%, no more cash transactions that cannot be traced. Well, the Federal Reserve, of course. And then they go on to say the reasons why FedCoin is so good, which is just a load of crap. To be honest, its FedCoin will offer speed, stability, scalability, and security, and demonstrate this technological potential to be the country's financial backbone. And then it even gives reasons why, but don't believe any of those reasons because they're just a load of junk there, if you will. All right, moving on a couple of pages down the report, there's a few other things that I want to show you. But on page 14 of this document, it goes on to talk about decentralization. It says, unlike the distribution set of Bitcoin nodes, FedCoin nodes, those who are kind of like your miners, your workers behind FedCoin, will be a decentralized group. Okay, keyword decentralized, but I'm guessing it's not really decentralized. Group of trusted institutions selected by the central bank. In other words, with Bitcoin, we have miners, we have nodes or whatever, where these are people who are paid money to traffic and kind of approve transactions and all of that. Well, in this FedCoin system, it will be only people who are selected by the Federal Reserve that will be able to do that. In other words, it's completely controlled by the Fed. Even the nodes, even the miners are controlled by the Fed. How on earth is that considered decentralized? I'm not quite sure yet. But according to the report, that's what they're calling it. And I just don't see it that way. But this is completely and utterly something that could definitely lead to something in the latter times spoken of in biblical prophecy. One other thing, or the last thing that I wanted to show you on this report is on page 17, and that is this, that they admit that the government will use things like FedCoin to completely surveillance and track your every move. This is up at the top there, it says federal cryptocurrencies represent a possible means of undermining the development of distribution cryptocurrencies while introducing a form of money transfer over which governments might, may I say, will assert unprecedented levels of surveillance and control. Unprecedented levels of surveillance and control. They're already doing that via the NSA on our internet. Imagine if we give them the power over our money, like something like FedCoin. You're telling me that they might do it? No. Yale University. They will. We, the American people, know they will. And it will be corruption on an extreme level. Imagine if you tick somebody off at the IRS, what they're going to do to your bank account or what they're going to do to your finances. You can kiss it all goodbye and forget the cash option altogether. That is the reason they want FedCoin, for complete and absolute control over you, for complete and absolute control. You can't even have, if you don't have a cashless society, imagine having your child go out there and running a lemonade stand. Well, where did that money come from, says the Federal Reserve? Was it taxed on something as simple as a lemonade stand? These are things that we really need to think about. Now, I know I said one last thing I wanted to mention in it. I guess one more last thing is on page 18. And this is just really in your face, but they admit it. It says, Bitcoin challenges the sovereign state. So our implementation of FedCoin sought to design a system with law enforcement in mind. Law enforcement in mind, meaning that obviously this is a policed styled system. And who's it policed by? Well, the feds, the Fed nodes, and the little ones that the Fed hired to do so. Now, there's a lot more information in this report. It's only 33 pages. I encourage you to read through it if you can. I've kind of highlighted the important stuff. Some of the things that I left out that are in this document are the fact that it will give substantial control over to the federal government, and it's written multiple times. I could have shown you like 10 different areas, but the goal of this is to be able to track and surveillance everything, so everything can be taxed and moved and documented in some way, shape, or form. Well, I'd love to get your comments on this. Please leave those below. And don't forget to check out my partner at virtualshield.com/Lisa Haven. At that link and that link only, you'll get 20% off right now while it lasts. So make sure you go down there and check that out and get on a VPN, because again, like this FedCoin thing or like our computer and internet, it's nobody's business what we Google or look up on the internet. And that's why I use a VPN. Anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts and comments on this report. And again, this screams, your cashless society, your new world order. This is one large leap into a new world order realm, and we cannot allow that to happen. Well, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.